help her understand that not every fridge is our fridge, right? So our fridge does not extend beyond our gates, even our to the school fridge or to anybody's fridge, right? So there are age-appropriate education that you need to take your child through. Is you asking that question, or you have any parenting problem or parenting issue? I will answer all the questions, it's not a problem. The biggest challenge in parenting in Africa is we don't have systems. That is why, something is happening in America right now. The Black Americans, the problem with African Americans and African immigrants, because they think that the African immigrants steal their jobs. They don't work because of their history, and some of them are a bit lazy, so it's not even whites fighting blacks, it's blacks fighting blacks and things like that. But it's a function of parenting. Parenting scripts you either to become exceptional or to become mediocre. That's why parenting is the most powerful template that exists. You can turn your child to a terrorist, you can turn a child to a thief, you can turn a child to anything by the power of parenting. The question is, do you understand parenting? Do you understand the systems required to get the best out of your child? Those are the critical questions. That's why if you are here, you don't understand parenting, I think you can join my coaching program, which starts in February through December, 11 months of building systems. Well, it's beyond parenting, actually. If you're head of a family and you're an African, you understand systems, you want to build systems that gives you rest, that you don't even have to think about it, you will produce an outcome. You might want to join that parenting program from February through December, where once in a month, I'm going to be working with the people in that boot camp on each of the systems they need to build to get the best out of their children. I'm sure my team will put the link at some point, or you can also join the 21-day program or something, but you need information. And trust me, because age 5, that is stage 2 of parenting. Stage 1, you are a scout, which means you don't pass a judgment on a child from ages 4 to 6, which is what this child is. You are a model. So you are your child learns by what they see you do. That was the age my son said to me, that said to my wife that when I grow up, my tummy will be as big as my daddy's tummy, because I used to have pot belly. And I immediately entered the gym to drop 14 kg and came back to my stature, which I've retained ever since. My weight has been the same, right? Because what is he looking for? He wants to grow pot belly. He doesn't want my intelligence. No, I had to change myself, right? So that what is seen in front of him is a fit father and not a pot belly father. So that I doesn't think that pot belly is where intelligence is, right? So at that age, your child learns from what they see you do. So you need to model certain things. Most likely, your child is taking things from fridge because dad is taking things from fridge. Mom is taking. In fact, there are people who are still stealing from their own pot. They are still stealing meat. They were stealing meat as children. Now they are providing the meat. They are still tiptoeing to the fridge in the middle of the night and still steal their own meat. So your child is observing and is modeling someone, right? If you model the right things, I'm sure. I think I've answered that question.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for answering that. So that we can take as many questions as we have, Mr. Praise, we would give you 3 minutes to answer each question.
Yeah, okay.
We have a lot of questions in the chat room already. So I'm going to take the next question that says, if a pastor in charge of a church is having issues in his marriage in the area of finance, his spouse insists he should step down from pulpit to fix his family financial issues and family challenge, stating that if you cannot manage your own properly, why should you be given a church to manage? PF, what do you advise?
No, it's like saying that a doctor's son is sick, so the doctor should stop down from being a doctor. No, finances is just one aspect of his life. And so that one aspect is enough to define everything. And all of us have areas of our lives that we are dealing with, right? And so we cannot say because I don't know, you're an engineer, you now say because your car broke down, you must step down from driving. No. The question is, the criteria for running a church is clear and specified in the Bible. If you're a Christian, he that desires the office of a bishop, that's a good thing. Is he an husband of one wife? Is good reputation with people, right? If he has a financial issue, that's a financial intelligence problem, right? I got into marriage with with a funny mentality that, you know, financial intelligence is inborn. And I ran my family finance down in the first 3 years until I went to play a game and I realized I wasn't the demon that was in charge. It was my illiteracy that was in charge. And my wife was a better money manager, and we give her money to manage, and she began to place me on pocket money. And I began to learn, and that solves the problem. If the man is willing to learn, financial intelligence will solve that problem. And financial intelligence is very easy to learn, right? Once he sees the need to save, he will solve the problem. Is he making enough? But to say that I should step down because of family finance, I don't think that's proper. I mean, there's no correlation at all. A doctor's, it's like saying a pastor should step down, you know, because maybe can't speak English or something, because he didn't go to school or something like that. The people following him, are they willing to follow him? You know, that's what is most important. And you should be privileged, grateful that at least you know he has a problem. So what type are you making to help him solve the problem, right? What of those who have bigger problems that you are not aware of because you are not close enough to them? So let's not take access for granted. I mean, it's not coming on it. And well, what I will also say is that if you're a pastor and your finances has problem and it's time to teach on finance, don't teach on finance. Look for someone in your church who has better finance, practical experience. Don't be ashamed. Let the person take. You sit down and take. I think that's the balance I need to, but that somebody should step down. Family finance is not working. Even if his family is not working, even if he goes through divorce, it's not still enough reason to step down, because pastoring is a role with specialized skill set. And if he's not violating those skill set, I don't think there's a basis for him stepping down.
Okay, so the second question of the same person says, how do I identify the potential of 12-month baby and 4-year-old?
Well, you can on the potential of a 12-year subjective.
12-month-old baby and a 4 years old.
Let the two of them be enjoying themselves. You know, in Japan, you don't even pass any judgment on a child until age 6, because all they do in the first 6 years is to study a child. In Finland, is the same thing. I think age 7. Africa are the ones who a child of 3 cannot read 1 to 100, and they are worried that they are going to the deliverance minister. What you the YDX 1 to 1 million that you can count? What has it done for you? Is 1 to 1 million equivalent to $1 million? It's not. So we are too much in a hurry because there's pressure on us. A 12-month-old baby should just enjoy herself or himself. Just be observing. He will be making noise. When things don't go our way, it's a way of saying, I'm exploring my environment. So just be observing, right? And be taking notes of what you're observing. By age 3, you will pretty much have some signals that you can work with. The same thing for age 4. Just keep observing. Note the things the child loves to do. Note the personality the child is modeling. You know, just observe and take notes. You don't have to head about the potential of the child. I mean, in fact, show as many options of plays, of potentials, and let the child, you know, try his hands on several things. You will know the child that has aptitude for music. You will know the one that has aptitude for calculations. You will know the one that has aptitude for engineering and all sorts of things. So don't worry yourself. It's way too early for you to be working on yourself hard on a child's potential. Yeah.
Thank you so much, PF. That was an excellent one. Please, so I'll move on quickly to the second question, which is, my son wants to be a musician, but I want him to study business administration. How do I show him that studying business admin is a better choice?
Why is it a better choice? Why is it a better choice? Are you saying Michael Jackson is, are you saying Dangote is better than Michael Jackson? Or Dangote is better than Elon Musk? You know, I mean, what are we talking about, really? If they say vote people today and put Davido down, and you put the bank manager of Zenith Bank does something down, Davido will still get more votes. So, I mean, a job, there is what we call the genius. The genius means the gene in us. Every human being has got the gene in them that makes them unique. Some people call it aptitude, right? Some people call it ability, some people call it talent. Now, you build skills easily in the area of your talent. As a matter of fact, why can't the child study the two? His business ideal, whatever acumen for his music is the business of the music. He has talent for music. He needs to understand the business of the talent. So he might need both, but don't impose your will on your child and upset the child. If he wants to be a musician, let him study to the highest level, then let him understand the business of music. I think it's that easy. But to impose your own gene on your child is to damage the child eventually.
Okay, so PF, the time you have to answer each question is reducing because we have multiple questions here, and I want to be able to answer everybody's question tonight because that's why we're here. So 2 minutes now for each question. My daughter is 14. We have always discussed intimate stuff like relationship, social media challenges. So recently she started having feelings with the schoolmates, and I tried as much as possible to convince her that those feelings were fickle and won't last. But we're still on it, so I need help to help her.
Why are you saying the feeling will not last? Are you the feeling? You are not the feeling. All right. And so let's not give generalized answers to matters of the heart. All right. You are grateful that your daughter at least told you. What if she never told you? And she's 14, which means she's in her teenage years. The 14-year-olds of yesteryears are the 21-year-old of yesteryears are the 14-year-olds of now. What a typical 14-year-old knows. I have a 14-year-old boy, so I know what they know is where they can teach you a whole lot. So what you need to do is to help your child, understand priority, understand friendship, and how to build friendship. As a matter of fact, if I were you, I'm going to invite that person home, and find out what's going on and educate the two of them. If possible, I will get to know the parents of the person, right? So that together we can mold them, into friends, and not because if you say the feeling will go, what if the feeling does not go? She will stop talking to you and say the feeling, but she's doing something else. So can we become more accommodating of the reality of our children, wherein it's not, what we need to ensure is that it doesn't disturb our academics and it's not affecting them negatively, right? These are the real, some parents will be happy and do testimony that your daughter is not in love with another girl. She's in love, she's having feelings for opposite sex, right? So parents in America are praying for that to happen, right? So what you, however, do, on a lighter note, is to manage that process in a way that your daughter understands priority, understands, the lines not to cross. And that's why we have taught basic sexuality education, and your child understands visioning. We have a class going on called Ready for Life for ages 8 to 18. It's a mentoring program for, different like 6 different classes. If your daughter is on that program, for example, he helps her because she will understand the basic things that you may not even be able to teach. So it's what it is. Feelings are feelings. You don't say it's going to go. It might not go, and it might go. Another one will come there immediately. So it's to build your child emotionally, and that requires a lot of work. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to say.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think that's what my mom did with me growing up, because when I told her that I had a guy in my class who liked me, she told me to bring the boy home. Eventually, we could not date because she talked us both out of dating and told us by the time we get to university, don't worry, we'll be ready to date. I don't know how I believed it, but whichever way it worked, I believed that she was actually going to be monitoring us into that relationship. Thank you so much for that. I have another question here in the chat room. It says, my 8-year-old daughter is full of life and good at sports. She is more interested in gymnastics and contortion and all that. She loves to go to school. She's in ballet and swimming. But when it comes to reading and writing at home, I have to force her. She's interested in drawing instead. How do I help her to show more interest in reading novels?
Why would you want her to read novels? Is that your dream or a dream? Right? And like we said, you need to, she likes to do gymnastics. Why not videos on gymnastics and many of the things she likes? Not videos on arts she loves to do. Why does it have to be novels? Have you studied our learning style? Is a learning style kinesthetics? Is it auditory? Is it visual? You want to check, and somehow, if you still feel you need to learn to read novels, very simple. What you need to do is look for the kind of novels that you think can improve her. For example, I mean, my wife wasn't really a reading person. Well, she reads some of the novels, but she's not a motivational book and self-help books kind of person. So how did I get her to start reading? I'll just say to her, sweetheart, please, I need to cover like 30 pages. Hope you don't mind if I put my head on your laps while you read to me. There's no way somebody will read to you that the thing will not enter the person. So that was what I was doing. And after I said, this book is not bad. Can you get me my copy? And that was how she started reading. So you need to bypass conscious resistance to help her begin to read. But please don't stifle her potential and her power.
Amazing. Ms. Eniton, do you have any questions from your end? I can see a lot of questions in the chat room here.
Okay, thank you, PF. And so for single people to feel that, oh, it's all about parenting. So I think I'll switch the ball a bit and ask a marriage question, then we'll come back to parenting so they don't feel left out. So my first question here is, I am struggling to find a partner who is ready. Do you have some?
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that? Okay, let me repeat it. It said, I'm struggling to find a partner who is ready for marriage. Do you have something for people like me?
Well, I'm not a matchmaker. However, I know how to audit people and help them position for who they should marry. So there is I hope someone in my team will put the link for users manual on the platform. There is something I taught on how to hack your life and find out what you want. Now, if you don't have a user's manual, you will most likely have a problem choosing right, because errors have been taught over time that has led people into making erroneous choices. So you've had concepts like men are logical, women are emotional, hogwash. It doesn't exist. The first thing of a man is respect. The first thing of a woman is love, hogwash. It doesn't exist. Opposites attract, hogwash. What attracts is your kind, because opposites attract when it comes to things, but when it comes to human beings, opposites will eventually repel if care is not taken. So you marry your kind. So those are some of the things in your head that may be limiting you from finding the right spouse. And also, where are you looking for the right spouse? So people tell me I want the right spouse in the presence of God. And every time I ask them, where's the presence of God? They only think about church. So I ask them, what about club? They say that's the presence of the devil. So is God omnipresent? God is omnipresent, which means God is everywhere. So how can you say God is not in the club? So that you even think that God is not in the club and that only church is where you can find spouse. So you have eliminated yourself from all eligibles. You've forgotten that the only thing that takes place in club is not dancing. Deals are closed in clubs, right? There are people who go to clubs to close deals. There are good people in clubs, just go there to hang out and things like that. So if you eliminate certain people, if it's your head or you have Yoruba men, then you eliminate Igbo men who are good, who can be your spouse. So you can go take that program. It's called the user's manual. If you're single, once you articulate it and go through it and answer all the questions, almost immediately, the person you should marry, you have an idea of who the person should be. Number two, you will have an idea where those kind of people are, and you begin to position yourself there. If you do that, trust me, it's only a matter of time. And if your mind is open, because there are so many rules and regulations that you have attended too many seminars, too many teachings that have now confused you, right? And that is creating problems for you. So basically, I think that's what you need to do. But that I'm going to look for one man to marry you. If I see your user's manual, I might be able to recommend, but I'm not sure I know those kind of people.
Our time is being fast spent, but I really need to ask all of these questions. So this person is saying, how do you deal with a situation where the emotional trauma a couple has experienced was as a result of a mental condition of one of the couples? They just found out the mental condition contributed, but one spouse is still really hurt and needs help supporting the healed spouse.
Can you take that again? I didn't understand it.
How do you deal with a situation where the emotional trauma a couple has experienced was as a result of a mental condition of one of the spouses?
Okay.
They just found out about the mental condition and that it contributed to the issues they had. Now this person is saying one spouse is still really hurt and needs help supporting the healed person?
Okay. Well, they need to get help. They should not heal themselves. Both of them need to find a coach who can work with them or a family life professional. I would recommend someone who has family systems engineering programming. You need to insist on that, right? Or if you now get a psychologist who has family background, that also helps, right? And so healing is not something you can do on yourself. Healing is a deep work, involves changing of meaning, right? And when you say that mental issues, are you talking about is a mental health situation? We do not know based on what you have said, so I think that you need to first go get help. What I know is there are so many professionals that will give you first session for free. Subsequent session, you will need to pay for it, right? So if you do a clarity session, they will know exactly what you need. But you need to know that if you keep hurting and multiply your hurt by 2, it will be hurt multiplied times 2, hurt, hurt, hurt. If you multiply it times 4, and so the question is, what do you want? If you want bliss, no matter how much you brood over the hurt, it's not going to take you to bliss. So what do you want? Go for what you want and embrace things that can take you in the direction of what you want. I would suspect that your marriage is still, your marriage is still too young for you to experience it. But I mean, you are human, you deserve to hurt, especially if there was no full disclosure. But you need to take a decision that promotes your wellness. Do you want a marriage or do you want yourself? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be happy through the marriage? There are so many questions that clarity sessions will help you elicit and help you answer. Find someone that you can work with.
Okay, so I'm going to move quickly again. I am a science graduate in bracket physics, and I have worked in the line. I want to do a postgraduate degree, but I am not really interested in science again. I'm writing and doing so for a while now, Leslie. What do you advise?
Can you take that again?
I am a science graduate and I have worked in that line. I want to do a postgraduate degree, but I'm really not interested in science again. I am now interested in creative writing. And this person has been doing so for a while now, effortlessly. So the person is asking, what do you advise?
So follow your dream. That's very simple. I mean, I studied accounting, first degree. First final exam was taxation. I was the first to leave the exam hall. 30 minutes, I was done. I didn't even know what I wrote. How I passed it, I will not know. But I jumped out of the hall, ran around the school. You know why? I freed myself from prison. Because from year 2, I knew I will never. I asked a question in class, would I ever be the best accountant in the world with hard work? My answer was no. I will be the best scattered accountant, not a chartered accountant. So I was looking for opportunity, and that was the last time I did anything accounting. Everything I do right now, self-development, it has nothing to do with any degree. In fact, so I could qualify as someone who never went to school, actually. So don't ever deceive yourself and live other people's dream. If you go ahead to still do sciences, you will still be unhappy. So if it is content writing that makes you happy, the question is, who is the best copywriter, content writer you can find? Go and volunteer under that person. Find courses you can take that can make you the best. Please, this is me. What is working at all is what doing well. If I can't be the best, I will not do it. So become the best that exists. Then you would realize that the scientists who are your friend, you'll be sitting on the table with them. I'm not doing badly since I stopped being an accountant. So just follow your dream. Follow your dream.
Thank you. So this question, I think you already answered earlier. It says, how can I identify the potential in my 8-month baby? His attention is attracted by music. How can I harness this? Well, like PF said earlier, it's just 8 months. Let this baby play.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to the next question that says, my son has strong tendencies. Maybe you want to answer.
Yeah, let's keep playing music for the child. If the child still loves music, because music can actually be what distracts the child for now. So it doesn't mean the child actually likes music. It's different sound from your normal sound. And this sound now has rhythm. So the rhythm goes straight to the soul. So the child is paying attention, so that might be what calms the child down. But as the child grows older, you will find out exactly what the child loves.
All right. So this is, my son has strong tendencies to be laid back. He needs to be supervised to finish almost every task. And we are clashing more often these days. He will soon be 12-year-old. How can I help him to be more independent?
Is your child laid back, or your child is a systematic fraud or dependable truck? There are 4 different personalities children manifest. You have the intimidating Oma, who is driven, natural leader, self-appointed captain, those are, then you have creative convertible. Thank you, Dr. Kingsley. Dr. Kingsley is saying that if people have mental health issues, they should see mental health professionals. Family therapy and couples therapy are an integral part of mental health for any trained professionals that know it's on you. Thank you very much. You have creative convertibles who are, playful, they are looking for socks, they're looking for shoes, they just love to play, right? Then you have the dependable truck who is slow and steady. So I suspect that that's where your child is. Then you have the systematic fraud who is the perfectionist. So you need to find out, is it that your child or your child is introspective and your child loves to take his time before decisions are made? Now, then when you say your child is independent minded, is it that your child is not minded, or your child takes his time, before he forms an opinion on an issue? So what you call weakness might actually be a strength. What I believe is you need to raise a child, to become the best version of them. All of us cannot be Omas, all of us cannot be convertibles, all of us cannot be Ford truck, and all of us cannot be Ford. But what you can do is build your child to ensure that his identity is mastered and his ferocious curiosity is not compromised. Once you have done that successfully, I think it's fine, right? And so build your child not to compete or to be someone else. Build your child to become the best version of himself. And most of the time, I realize that the child is modeling one of you. So which of you is slow in quote, and which of you is it the father or the mother? One of you is definitely introverted, right? Except where something has happened to the child. So that's another extreme. You might need to find out, was the child ever been extroverted and suddenly became introverted? If that is the case, then you need to take your child through a psychosocial evaluation.
Wow. Thank you so much. Yes, that's excellent. Thank you so much. I'll move on to the next question quickly. He said, I have a 14-year-old that seems to eat compulsively. He always wants to keep chewing and eating. He does not stop until he finishes his beverages. Do you think it's psychological?
It could be, and it might not. How old did they call the? How old
14 years old. 14.
14. It could be psychological, it could be non-psychological. So, the child might be dealing with something and food becomes a stopgap. So if the child is dealing with something, you might want to find out what it is. I've had clients who we have to refer to psychiatrists, some of them psychologists. Eventually, when we find out that what they're dealing with is what we can handle, so if the child is compulsive, that's a bit of addiction, and addiction is an uncontrollable compulsive appetite for an activity that keeps reoccurring. So you want to find out what is going on here. And so if it's not that the child has got anything that is using food as a coping mechanism for, then maybe it could be what they call gluttony, or maybe the child has a taste for things like milk, because you're talking about beverages and things like that. When that age, of course, I could actually finish a beverage where if I'm drinking Gary, I can be pouring it there. I can finish it in like 2 days as well, and it's got nothing to do with anything. It's just that it's sweet. I have a sweet tooth or something like that, right? However, you need to teach the child about the wellness of his body, about the implication of excessive eating and how that affects his future, how that affects his weight. It's about explanation. It's not stop doing it. Once the child finds it, in fact, it's more of questioning, right? So what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of shape do you want to be? What kind of health do you want to have? So what do you think will take you to that health? Let's look at classes of food. Let's look at excessive eating. So what do you think you should do? Let the child take a decision. If the child is the one taking the decision, you have let the child take a decision. If he took the decision, he will take the decision and he will sustain it. If you took the decision for the child, he will sabotage it. So that's what I think you need to do. But if it's eating as a result of something, then you might need to go see a mental health professional.
Thank you so much, PF. Thank you very much. I'll move on quickly to the next question, which says that how can one help an orphan to find wholeness if they refuse to go for therapy? How can one help an orphan to find wholeness if they refuse to go for therapy?
If they don't go for therapy, you can't help someone who has refused to go for therapy. You can't, in fact, if you force them to therapy, they will sabotage the therapy. I don't work with people who are not ready, So maybe it's that they are running away from it, or they can't. They are afraid to confront. They are not ready. You can just be loving the person, but you can't force people to go for therapy. No, I don't think you should force it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll move on to the next question here. It says, how do I manage an 8-year-old girl who masturbates when she's alone?
When you say masturbate,
how do you manage an 8-year-old? Yes,
I don't understand.
go on.
When they say masturbation, masturbation is self-stimulation of the sexual organs till a state of orgasm is achieved. That's my definition for masturbation. However, if self-exploration is what you're talking about, because your child might be going through some self-exploration, wherein you see some boys, they touch their penis because that's the first toy they discover. So they play with that toy, you know, and that can actually graduate into masturbation because the child feels good down there. Now, what you need to do, you might want to find out why is the child doing that? Is there some form of pornography involved? Is there some form of, is it that the child is being abused, or is the child already sexually exposed? Those are information that you need to find out. If it's none of those, then what form of sexual education have you taken the child through? If you don't have nothing, we have a basic sexual education for, children from ages 18 months to 18 years, you know, that you can download or for very, very cheap on our website. I think you can get that. Maybe the link can be, but also you can get your child into Ready for Life program, you know, which I think sexual education is covered that a lot, you know, but you need to find out exactly what is responsible for what your child is exhibiting. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. PF. Thank you so much. So I'll quickly move on to the next question. It says, I try to prevent my 3-year-old from eating junk food, but when she goes to the playground and see other kids eating, she asks for some and always takes food when offered. How do I handle this? And I think she had a follow-up question that says she doesn't eat junk at home, but she wants to eat it when she gets to school.
How old is
3-year-old?
3-year-old.
3-year-old, yes.
Honestly, I don't know what is this thing about Nigerians and 3-year-olds. You know, a 3-year-old is trying to explore his environment. So what you can teach a 3-year-old is minimal. So a 3-year-old is not supposed to play unsupervised. So I'm a bit curious, who are the people that should supervise that 3-year-old to ensure that the food she's brought is the food she's eating, right? Those are the questions I want to find out. So your 3-year-old might be in an environment where there is no supervision, and that is very dangerous. You might want to check that out. But I also don't know how well your 3-year-old speaks, right? And the personality that might be, the traits that might be showing up in the child's personality. I don't have that information. However, I think what you need to do is 0 to 3, like we said, is scouting. Just observe and just take time to, if the child can comprehend, then begin to explain, why it's important to stick to what that their mommy has given you, and you troubleshoot that till you are sure that a state of mastery is attained. But I think that child will understand that information better from age 4 or 5 than age 3.
All right, Mr. Praise, strictly 2 minutes for every question. How can a single parent create a family structure for the children if marriage does not happen?
Marriage doesn't have to.
How can a single parent create a family structure for the children if marriage does not happen?
Marriage doesn't need to happen. I mean, that you are going to get married or someone is going to marry you is a myth. If you find it, fine. If you find it, enjoy your life, maximize your life. So if you are a single parent, please master the systems that you can build. You are the head of that family, right? If it's just you and your daughter or you and your son, you are the head of that family, especially when the person who is supposed to be co-parenting has proven that he's not ready or isn't responsible, something like that. So you take responsibilities. If that is you might want to reach out to us. We are starting a session for heads of families from February through November, through December, rather, 11 months. Let's see how we can get you into that, help you attend that class, help you attend that program. It's not free, but we'll see what we can do for you being a single parent, to make you for you. But basically, if you are here and you don't have systems that can deliver the outcomes you want for your parenting, you need to be in that session as well. So if you reach out to us, we will help you, make it easy for you to spread your payment and most likely attend that session, because basically what I'm concentrating on in those sessions are systems intelligence, which an average African family does not have, which the typical Japanese, Chinese, Jewish family has in abundance. So basically, that's what we're doing.
So this next question says, please, how do you help a child who stammers to be confident? He has become withdrawn because other children laugh at him for his inability to communicate eloquently.
Why are the children laughing at him? And why is he stammering? Is the stammering natural or is it induced? Right? Because I have worked with a number of people who stammer and they no longer stammer. Right? And in fact, there were people that thought that they were stammerers. Then I found out in working with them that it was because to conceal a lot of things, they had a lot of anger within them that they couldn't, their parents didn't allow them express their mind. So they develop a coping mechanism of when they're speaking in anger, so they are stammering. By the time you stabilize their inner wellness or they attain wellness within, a whole lot of them suddenly begin to speak freely, right? And so what the parents, again, needs to do, you need to go to school to lodge a report and figure out what is happening in the school. What exactly system do they put in place? But also you might need to get your child to get some help, right? You need to get your child to do some kind of evaluation. Maybe you get a child psychologist to do an evaluation to find out what's going on with your child. Is it induced? Is it natural? If it's induced, then we can deal with it. But basically, your job is to help your child master the identity, regardless of, you can't stop the entire world from doing what they want.
Okay, can you help us with GoTV?
Master your identity, it wouldn't matter what they are doing.
Yeah, I quite agree with you, because growing up, my mom told me that I used to stammer, but that she beat the stammering out of me. I don't recommend anybody beat the stammering out, but she said she literally beat it out of me. And so when I speak today, you will not know that lady one. I can't imagine that as beautiful as I am. But then she did a good job with doing that. So I think that, yeah, as a mother, there's something that you can do. Let's run quickly. Someone is saying, yes, I attest to the fact that the course is helping my child. That's Ready for Life. You can go to our website on iampraisefulwowe.com/ready-for-life. Please, okay, so the link has been dropped. If your child is within Africa, there's a separate link. But if your child is outside Africa, there's also a separate link. So whoever is dropping the link, you have to indicate which one is within Africa, which one is outside Africa. We know that most parents are busy. We're here to help. We're not saying give us all the responsibility of you being a parent, but we're going to do a good job with your child if you send them to us. It's just once every week, every Saturday. I'm sure every information you need, you have on the link. Someone said, I used to stammer. I was teased all along and it got worse. Guess what? Stammering disappeared in uni with a change in environment. So really, stammering can actually be worked on. So I have another question. Someone says, PF, I have a set of twins. One seems brighter than the other. I am worried about it. What do you advise?
How do you define brightness? Could it be that the intelligence of the other one has not been discovered, or the intelligence of that one is not captured within the conventional? So for example, for example, you will look at when we're in secondary school or primary school, there were some boys who scored 0/100 in math and some other subjects. What did our teachers do? We called them to bring them forward and we sang for them. We shamed them. But it's time for the school to go on march past, to go on relay race, invitational relay, to do football. They were the same boys who led the school and won laurels. So would you say they were intelligent or they were dull? No, their intelligence was not captured within the conventional mode of academics and what we call brightness. There is no child that is a dullard. There are only children whose intelligence has not been unearthed based on the limitedness of the environment they found themselves. So I was almost like a dullard when it comes to accounting, but I'm a genius at what I am doing. But there is no university that offers the course that I'm of the field I am right now in Nigeria. So I was a right seed in the wrong environment, right? And there was no way the environment could support me. So I have seen children who have done badly in some countries, go to another country and become geniuses. So you need to find intelligence. Let us stop this mentality of they are twins, they must do things alike, wear the same uniform, do things alike, eat the same food. It has destroyed more twins than it has. I know twins that if they're in relationship today, if one's relationship breaks, the other person's relationship will break. And I have to advise them, you guys need to go your separate ways, or else this is how you are going to die. You know, so it's important for you to understand that twins are just two children who were fortunate to have come out of the same womb at the same time. It doesn't mean they have same personality or temperament. Let them live their own life. Let them find themselves, discover themselves. So figure out the intelligence of the other one, then we can now build him in the area of his competence.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you 2 questions together so that we can save time, because there are numerous questions here and we have limited time. My fiancé and I are of the opinion that white wedding in church is a waste. So we want to go for traditional and cut, but our parents think otherwise. What do you advise, especially the fact that I want a very quiet and intimate wedding?
Okay, well,
one question.
Okay.
Please, how can we help our children improve the interest in mathematics?
Well, mathematics, let me start from there. Mathematics is the way we were taught. The way Nigerian teachers teach mathematics can be very devastating. Every time I remember math, I remember Mr. Ogunlaja with his big cane. That's the first picture on my head, right? And that's why I struggle with math, you know, but my son is not struggling with math because he's using another methodology and his teachers are totally different, right? So I think we need to begin to encourage creative math. Which a lot of, I mean, quite a number of Nigerian schools now teach it, and we must give kudos to the private schools because they've made it very easy, right? And I mean, for a long time, numbers was a problem for me, but now I like numbers. In fact, I ran away from physics class and I went to commercial class, but now I'm doing a lot of quantum physics. I find it very, very intriguing and very, very interesting because it explains how everything works, and I believe absolutely in that. Now, you want to do white wedding. White wedding is a type of wedding. Traditional is a type of wedding. Customary is a kind of wedding. So there are so many weddings. As a matter of fact, introduction can pass for certain weddings. So what you need to do, however, it looks like you and your spouse, you are in alignment. Parents are not in alignment. Why are parents not in alignment? If you have parents who belong to religious society, and other people, they have eaten other people's food, they have won other people's ashwebi, then it will be tough for you to convince them that other people should not come and you know, eat their own children's meat or whatever. So you will need to, for lack of a better word, strike a barter and talk to your parents, appeal to their emotion, right? Because it might be the honor they have been looking forward to. They have an idea of the kind of wedding they want in their head. So you guys can come to a compromise. So you don't want to start that kind of fight. Come to a compromise in the sense that, okay, can we, so you want a wedding of 50 or 500. Can we do 100 people wedding or 200 people's wedding or something like that, right? And if they still don't agree, they still want big one, can you put your budget down and let them now spend the rest of the money they want to spend, right? That will be their own budget. You have no business with that. To say, we're not going to spend more than, our budget is actually 100K. So if their own budget is 2 million, they must spend it by themselves and it has nothing to do with you. So you need to be able to do that. But I believe that wisdom can procure peace. I believe in the ways of wisdom because wisdom produces peace and pleasantness. I believe you can negotiate. And I think that's the part I want you to toe, right? Or the other option will be if you guys leave the country and you now say you want to get married abroad, you know, at that, the only people who have flight tickets will come. You even invite the whole world, they will not show up. They will be apologizing to you. I have heard people plan those kind of weddings before. So there are several ways. I think I used to have a product called How to Plan a 60K Wedding or something like that. I don't know if I still have it, so you might want to listen to that. However, you need to appeal to your parents. And I hope none of you is a firstborn child, because that would be very hard, but appeal to them, appeal to their emotions, let them see reasons with you. And if they don't see reason, come to a compromise. It's just one day. The most important thing in wedding doesn't cost money. Is yes, I do, so that's what I think.
Wow, so many questions here. I think at this point, I wouldn't want more questions so that we can answer all the ones that we have here. Our time is really
We don't finish it, we'll have a part 2.
So, okay, so we would have a part 2. All right, thank you, Mr. Praise, for giving us another opportunity. So if you're on this call and we don't get to answer your questions tonight, look out for mail from us, look out for posts on our social media handles. We will definitely communicate to you when we're going to have the part 2 of this session. So I can see a mathematics question somewhere. Okay, someone is saying, as a mathematics teacher, I have observed that my secondary students don't understand at the same rate. And how do I make them? I'm not sure what this person is trying to say. But let me go to the second one. He said, I observed that most of my senior school students place less importance to their academics and focus more on the other gender. I need your advice, please. But I think I'm going to move to the next question. How do I help my daughter build confidence in herself? For example, she keeps seeking confirmation after doing her assignments.
Okay. Well, what I think you need to understand is every child is different, right? And that's why I tell teachers that, the most important thing you need to understand in your school is there are not 20 students in your class. You only have one, right? And you must take every child as that. Once you take every child as that, it becomes generalized. It becomes specialized teaching and not generalized teaching, right? So it's important for people to understand that, right? And so you need to develop capacity to be able to pick every child and handle them as the same. And then most likely check their personality traits and differences. And you are able to align that to design a curriculum that cuts across board. That's what I think. Unfortunately, I know that we are limited by our environment and what the Nigerian curriculum is saying. But as a teacher who really wants to help students, you might need to do a lot of work after class and extra class to assist your people. Yeah.
We have not answered the question on how do I help my daughter build confidence in herself.
Well, if you want your daughter to build confidence in herself, there are so many things you need to. What exactly is her confidence level right now? What exactly are the issues she's dealing with? We need to figure that out. Then who exactly is your child and where does your child want to go? Once we find outcome, then we can build a methodology that can take your child there. But what I will do on the interim is expose your child to positive things, positive thinkers, positive speakers, give them little assignments, over-celebrate art, then I'm sure we can take it up from there.
Okay, so people, we have numerous questions here, and Mr. Praise needs to be in another session right now. This session is just supposed to be 45 minutes, 1 hour, but apparently we can answer all of these questions.
Let me make a promise. I think we can give next week Friday. I'll free my calendar, and so that I would really, really want us to take every question people are asking. So let's collate all the questions. If you can drop an email address that we can, so people can send their questions to, and we can collate them. I will make myself available next week Friday, surely, and I will answer every other question Friday night. Yeah.
Okay. So it brings us to the end of the question and answer time with Praise Fowowe tonight. Thank you to everyone who has joined in. I have noted all your questions, and we're going to start with the rest of the questions that we could not answer today. That's what we're going to start with next week, Friday. You heard Mr. Praise Fowowe is willing to host us again next week, Friday. Thank you to everyone who has joined in, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Ensure that you join us on all social media platforms. Praise Fowowe International on Instagram. The Praise International is not full, Praise Fowowe INT. And on Facebook, we're Praise Fowowe International. You can join us. My name is Motolani Abifalabi. You can also follow me on social media. I'm also going to be posting the flyers of the numerous classes that we have. And so we call it a night. Thank you so much, and we apologize if we did not answer your questions tonight. I personally apologize. We could not answer all because of the time. So please, we would answer all your questions by next week, Friday. Thank you so much. Look out for our mail. We're going to be sending mails to you. Ensure that you move us from your promotion to inbox so that when our mails come, you will see them. We promise you, we won't bombard your mails too much with our email. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Miss Annie, you want to say goodbye to the people?
Yes, thank you. Please, let's not forget, an email has been pasted in the chat room for you to send in your question ahead for next week, Friday. So it was quite an exciting time. We learned a lot. And I don't know if you noticed, Tolani, PF made everything look like a problem. It just made it look like nothing. Every question was just, and I'm like, wow. Disabled, no, you don't. So I think that's one of the things I think parents should learn. You should not always take every problem serious, because the truth is there's definitely a solution out there. If you seek for a solution, you're going to find it. And don't name what you don't want. That's one thing I saw that he was doing consistently. He tries to no, you don't say it this way, you say it this way. And I think that's one lesson I think parents should learn. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you,
Thank you so much. You can also visit our website, www.iampraisedfowowe.com. We have amazing materials. You can also chat us up on 081 25 120 410. I'm going to call that again. You can chat with us on 081 25 120 410. And if you need to send an email to us, please send it to info@iampraisedfowowe.com. info@iampraisedfowowe.com. I'm sure that when you visit our website, you have all the necessary details that you need. Thank you so much for everyone that has joined us again. We'll see you next week, Friday. Bye.
The recording has stopped.